What's up, guys? Back with another video. Today, as you can see, I got the boys with me. We're doing a little question answer, answering some of the questions that you guys sent me on DMs or had comments. I decided to just answer them in a video. I think it would be easy and best. If you have any more questions, comments, feel free to put them down in the comment section. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so first let's just introduce ourselves. Let's go name, class, position, hometown. Nick, you can get us started.
All right, cool. I'm Nick Okoro. I'm a sophomore. I'm a forward, and I'm from Birmingham, England.
All right, I'm Perrin. I am a senior. I play outside back or center back. I'm really outside back, but they just don't mean center back. And my hometown from Aurora, which is a suburb of Chicago.
What up, guys? I'm DJ Hooks. I'm a senior from Southfield, Michigan, and I'm an outside winger.
What up, everyone? I'm Nick Graziano. I am a junior. I'm from Evergreen, Colorado, and I'm a left winger.
All right, so first question. What happens if you don't pass a fitness test, and how do I prepare in order to pass a fitness test? All right, who wants to take this?
I could go. I would say if you don't pass the fitness test, one of the first things you need to do is kind of just evaluate how you perform and see where you're at compared to the other guys who did pass. And what you want to do after that is kind of just do like a little extra work, just running outside of practice or just trying to do like extra pickup after the fact. So any little thing that just gets you into more running will definitely help you and eventually pass the next fitness test.
Yeah, that's important. Best thing you can do is come in fit. You can always work on the ball skills, but especially for freshmen, if you come in fit, that really makes a statement to the coaches. But for us, if we don't pass fitness test, you have to run it again, usually like later in the week. So yeah, I mean, I luckily haven't had any experience with that. I know you might have a bit of that. Any thoughts about that?
I mean, yeah, it's not the best having to rerun it again, but as P said, the best thing you can do is come in tip-top shape, make sure you pass all the fitness tests, because the second test is probably harder than the first test, but if you do have to run it twice, make sure you pass it, so yeah.
Nick, I know you, freshman year, it wasn't a crazy performance, but sophomore you really showed out. Sophomore, junior, you really showed out. So what do you think was the biggest difference for you?
Yeah, the biggest difference for me, so between the two tests, there's a track test and the shuttle test that was in the first couple videos. With the track test, I ran that a ton of times back home to prepare, so I did better on that test than the shuttle test that I didn't run too much. So I know after my freshman year when it was coming to these tests, I was just making sure that I was running it at least once a week just to get used to how my body would perform in these tests, and that's why I've been super successful the past couple of years while running.
Second question, what do you eat on a normal day versus game day, and do you get free meals?
I could definitely jump in on this. So if it's not a game day, I'm eating as much as I possibly can. I'm talking eggs, sausage, potatoes for breakfast. We got fruit snacks, Cheez-Its as a side treat, only on days when you know you don't have a heavy load in practice. Then you have lunch where you try to just get like a sandwich or a salad or both. Then dinner, you always try to go carb overload, so get some pasta or some like heavy carbs like for burgers and stuff. But definitely outside of game days, I eat really heavy versus game days. I kind of like to stick to just the team meals and anything light just to keep me full but not too heavy for the game.
Anyone else want to jump in?
Yeah, I can jump in. So on the game day perspective, normally I'm not a person that's super hungry in the morning, but I try to eat as much as I can. So like on a game day, I'll make some eggs, something simple, and then for the pregame meal, I'll eat a little heavier. And then after that, I probably won't eat until like an hour before we have to meet in the locker room. And then with that, I'll eat like a protein bar or something small just to have a little something in my system. And then when it comes to just a normal day, I'm big on 3 meals. And then a goal for me with my nutritionist was to eat when I'm not hungry, and that's a problem that I've had. I feel like I get my 3 meals and like that's about it.
Because you don't like to cook? Or
I'm not the best cooker around, but I get the small, simple meals. Huge fan of DoorDash. So when I'm a hard practice or something and I want to treat myself, then you can expect a nice little DoorDash Chipotle bowl.
Just going from what Brad said, he mentioned it earlier that we all had like our nutrition goals. Some of us were in like a lean out group, some of us were in like a World Cup group. I was specifically in the
Team lean out.
I was in the lean out group, meaning I had to like drop a couple pounds just to get to like my playing weight. So for me, I was like I was still eating 3 times a day, but I would like not eat as much protein on a certain day or much carbs on a certain day. And going on for what Perry said about the 3 meals, I like away games because we have like our
We eat nice.
we eat nice, but like we have like scheduled meals. So like breakfast, you know, you're gonna get all your nutrients, you're gonna get your carb, you're gonna eat protein, you're gonna eat fruit as well. And then the pre-game meal's always nice. You have like pasta, chicken, and then typically after the game, you get like a nice meal like noodles and company, which is like a nice treat to have at the end of the week. So yeah.
Yeah, away trips are nice. You don't have to cook, especially like all of us live with full kitchens, and I don't know if you guys have meal plans, but if you don't, you kind of have to figure it out, cook for yourself. So sometimes that's kind of hard, but I mean, it is what it is. You can always DoorDash, like Grass said. But yeah, free meals are definitely nice. Away trips, huge. You guys see the videos, see all the stuff we eat. And then game days, we get 2 free meals, 1 before, like pregame meal, and 1 after. All right, question number 3. What is the hardest thing about being a student athlete? Is it travel, time management, class? Want to start that?
Yeah, I'll start. So I know you've mentioned all of those 3 things, like what's the hardest thing, but for me, being a student, an international athlete, the hardest thing I would say is being so far away from home. Obviously being in college in general, like you're gonna be far away from home, but being overseas, like in a different continent, it's always different for like international players because we can't always have that accessibility, just going straight home to talk to your parents, to go back to your friends. Like, I don't feel like I'm alone at Butler, but then there are times where like I can't just hop on a plane to go back home and see my family. So for me, the distance is the hardest part.
For me, easy travel with classes. I miss a bunch of classes. This year I have a Friday class, and I've been to like 2 because we just travel over the weekend so many times. But then like having to do homework on the road, it's never fun.
Time changes.
Yeah, time changes.
Yeah.
I know you kind of got screwed on one of those. You turned in an assignment like at Marquette, but like they're in Central, so you gotta mess that up. But
Got nap.
yeah, good stuff. All right, you guys?
For mine, I would say definitely the same as parents, like time management with school. Like his Friday classes, I have a Wednesday night class that's once a week, and our games when it comes to the Big East are Wednesday, Saturday. So I have to miss that Wednesday class a lot, and I think I've missed like 4 or 5 weeks of the class. And my mindset that I learned from freshman year is you gotta work in advance. So I go through the syllabus, find out when these tests are, when big projects are, and I write it early. So I would say time management's the hardest part, but it's doable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think my biggest thing is just time, or just being able to like figure out when I'm gonna do my homework, and especially like go to like these night classes. I don't know about you guys, but like as soon as practice is over, the last thing I want to do is go home, and go to class, or go and type a paper. So I think the hardest thing for me would be knowing that you may not want to do your homework at 10 a.m. in the morning, but it's going to be so much easier to get it done in the morning before practice than after a long day and after a hard practice coming home and trying to do a bunch of stuff.
All right, question number 5. What is the best part of college soccer, and what is the worst part?
I don't know. I would say the best part for me is playing in front of a bigger crowd. It's really exciting just to be out on the field and seeing all your friends, family, and even just students that you may not even know who are kind of just supporting you and everyone coming together. It's kind of been one of my biggest things, like playing against IU or Xavier. It's super exciting. And I would say the worst part is gotta be fitness. I'm not gonna say I'm not fit, but it's definitely one of the things where if I don't maintain it and work on it constantly, I lose it. And it's definitely something that it's never fun, but it's just vital to be able to perform at a high level in college. So.
To run off of that, I would totally agree with DJ. I would say my favorite part about college soccer is definitely game day. And again, once at the bowl, especially when you walk out that tunnel and see all the Butler students there, family, people supporting, like there's no better feeling. And especially when you win the game and hear that final whistle, there's, again, not a better feeling of all the hard work, especially you put in during that week. To represent 3 points at the end of the week is huge. And I would say the worst part is probably just depends on the day. Like some days are longer, harder than others. Like especially when you have class all morning and then you have a lift and then you have practice and then you have class afterwards, and you don't have a ton of time to like just rest and kind of do your homework or go get a meal in. Like you're constantly going from one thing to the next. Sometimes that can be a little stressful, But again, if you plan out everything ahead, then it's doable and it's not terrible. So that's kind of, I would say, the best and worst part.
Yeah, similar to what those guys said, just being around the team every day. Like some of the guys, you live with them, go to class with them, you play with them, so like you're with them all the time. And then when you can win with them as well, such a special feeling. But for me, the worst thing, I think the worst thing is how short the season is. So we only play from, I want to say, end of August till mid-November, so like 2-3 months. And then in the spring, you have like a maximum of 5 games. So the spring, you don't really have that competitive edge that you used to. So I feel like if the season was a bit longer, I would appreciate it more. But a short season is one of the worst things I'd say.
Yeah, not a lot of originality going on, but I'd also say like game day. Playing academy, I never like played for my school. I played middle school basketball, but it really wasn't the same. I was a baller, by the way, probably still the best on the team. But it's not you, but all right. But yeah, playing for the school, having Butler across your chest, it's like you're playing for something that's bigger than you, and I really enjoy that. And then kind of similar to what Nick was saying, like the season is so jammed together. So there's like 2 games a week. We're playing like, I know we're on a stretch, we're like playing Wednesday, Saturday, like 3 weeks in a row. That's just like crazy, like on your body. Like you don't really have time to almost get better. You're more just like playing a game and you're recovering to play the next game. You're not practicing to get better really, which kind of I think is the downside. So yeah, that's probably what I would say is the worst part about college soccer. All right, question number 6, I believe. What do you do in the spring when you're out of season?
And out of that's a good question.
Yeah.
In the spring, basically, it's just what were your strengths and weaknesses from the fall, and with those weaknesses, kind of just keep practicing at it to get ready for the fall. So that's what I say. When we're in the spring, we're in the gym a lot more than in the fall. So it's kind of getting that physicality up, putting on weight or losing weight. Pretty much just, again, getting touches. So I would say the big thing with the spring is we have 6 games. There's no tournament, so you really get to work on your team.
We did win the Indy Cup.
We did win the Indy Cup. Besides the Indy Cup,
Cup.
there's no NCAA tournament. So basically, it's a good time for you to work on you individually and your team as a group to get prepared for the fall.
Yep, kind of, you honestly just covered pretty much everything. Yep, just time to get better. Everyone gets to play as a team, which is nice. Practices, we can really get after it because we don't have a game twice every week. So practice is a lot more intense, which I like. Other than that, it's pretty similar. You can focus on academics too a lot more because like I know last spring I had like a bunch of afternoon classes and there were only like 1 section that was offered. So I had to take those and like I missed some practices and like that wouldn't be good during the fall. So I had to take all these classes in the spring. So anything else for spring?
The one thing I would say, a lot of times because there's a lot of off time to kind of do whatever you want, I think that one thing you want to kind of think about is that the spring's a great time for you to get ahead of other teams, other players, and kind of advance yourself. So I know for me personally, I know Graz kind of touched on it a little bit. You kind of want to focus on like the 1 or 2 things that you don't think you were the best at and kind of constantly just grind on it on your own or with like a partner or 2 and really kind of develop your skills as best you can because while some people are just resting or not doing anything at all, you could be really stepping up your game and putting yourself further up the depth chart maybe in the future for the fall.
It's also with the summer. Summer is a great time to do that as well. I think all of us, did we all play for USL2 teams?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we played for USL2, which is like a summer league. But yeah, just a good opportunity. You have a lot more time. I had extra time before and after training, so I would like work on my crossing or like work on my passing ranges and stuff like that. But you're always, in the summer, you really get a lot of extra time to put yourself ahead. Because in the spring, everyone's like with their team, so like you have like a strength schedule, fitness, like you all have like, you can't do nothing, but in the summer, that's really, I think, when you can get a step ahead. We good with that?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, second to last question. How did you get recruited? So I made a video about how I got recruited and then some tips that I have for recruitment, and it was basically how I got with the soccer playing the academy. So DJ is gonna be probably similar, yeah?
Absolutely.
So Graz and Nick, if you guys wanna talk about you, especially you international, so Graz, go first.
So basically recruitment was a little tough, I would say, from a Colorado standpoint. when finding a place like Butler, just because how far it is with the country. Like the coaches aren't traveling from Indy to Colorado to watch all your games, and like when we have tournaments, they're either in Texas or California. They weren't around Indiana, so that was tough. So one thing was the ID camp, and I know a lot of people can say like the ID camp, they're just looking for your money, and I would say that some of the reason that could be true, but one big thing was I made sure to email our head coach before the camp, pretty much telling him I'm interested in the team and I could see myself going here, and really wanted to introduce myself before the camp started, just so he knew who I was when I got there. And I would say, yeah, that was the biggest thing from Butler's standpoint, because I did that sophomore year, but because of the like communication like rule, they couldn't talk to me really when I was at the camp, or just over the phone call. And then once junior year hit, and then they were allowed to start calling you, that's when they asked me to come back. And so then junior year of high school, I went back and committed like a week after. So I would say definitely emailing coaches, being on top of things. And if you're looking at a school in a different country, like if you're an international and you want to come to the States, I'd make sure to send an email.
You got the expertise on that, right? We don't got like that. But
you know what I'm talking about. I mean, that same thing from Colorado. If you want to go to a school in Indiana, Chicago, like just make sure that you email them so they know that you're going to be there, so they know of you beforehand instead of after the fact. So that is it for me.
Cool. I mean, Ross is an expert now on international recruitment, so
expert on everything.
No, but in my case, being an international student, it's really different to how these guys were recruited. One, because it's not that easy for a coach to just fly and see specifically you that he wants to bring on board. It's more you work with agencies, or the team that you recently played for will help you in the process. So for me specifically, I was working with a company called Vertex Soccer. So I'm not the first guy to come to the States. So like, people before me, obviously, who worked with this agency before, so they had a lot of contacts with different colleges over here and then teams back home. So I got in contact with them, sent them my highlight video. But as I just said, the highlight video isn't enough for a college coach to come and offer you like a full ride or part scholarship. So when you are working with these agencies, you will go to showcase games which are in your home country. So I was lucky enough to play in a showcase game in December, and our head coach Paul Snake actually came and watched me like play. So I was actually lucky enough that he got to see me play and offer me on the day, rather than just sending a highlight video for the coach to be like, well, you can do this, but you can't do that, because let's be honest, anybody can look like Ronaldo in a highlight video. And then the communication with your coach happens. There are some cases where they do fly you out for a visit. Unfortunately for me, I was recruited around the time of COVID, so couldn't really visit. But I spoke to guys on the team before. They spoke to me about Indy, spoke to me about how the college program works, and yeah, I've been here ever since, and I'm loving it so far. So yeah.
And then just other questions that I've gotten about international, but I don't obviously know. Like, so you talked about how they could fly you out.
Yeah.
Would you say that being seen, like, it would be worth it to have them fly you out, or even like you buying the ticket? Because I know the tickets can be really expensive. Like,
Yeah.
you think that the in person is that important?
For me, if you're very serious about coming to the States, I would say even if they can't afford to fly you out, I think just visiting the college just off your own back is very vital. Because think about it, you're gonna be here for 4 years. So what's one flight gonna be? Then what's one flight cost compared to wasting 4 years if you don't think it's a good fit for you? I know in the past there's been times where people have come and not liked it, so they've gone back. So I think the visit initially really does help people see if they could fit in and stuff. So yeah.
Last question: what advice would you give to your freshman self?
I can go first. I got two different ones. I think one would definitely be just to try to avoid distractions. One thing that I've learned from freshman year to now is there's a lot going on campus, pretty much wherever you're going to be. and just trying to keep yourself and your priorities kind of in a line, and knowing that soccer is why you're here and you need to just stick to it at all times. And my second thing that I would say to myself is don't sell yourself short, because you never know kind of what your full potential is. I know as a freshman you may coming from off of like your academy team or your high school team being one of the best players, and you get to college and it may not be the case for you right away, and it's hard to definitely keep a strong mental or state of mind the whole time, but you have no idea kind of what your skill set can be. And if you just kind of keep that positive outlook on things, eventually it's going to start clicking for you, and then you'll just keep growing from there.
You're gonna pop off and get 3 goals, 1 assist in a week. Mine would be kind of like what DJ said. Be confident. Like when you get on the field, don't like worry about I can't make this mistake. Like don't be really tense and like timid and stuff. Just be confident. Be confident in your ability. You're getting playing time because your coach believes in you. Your teammates will believe in you. And honestly, confidence is the biggest thing. Like confidence can, especially like, I don't know, as like a defender, even though I did play some winger in my time, like just having the ability to be like, all right, you're not gonna get past me. I'm gonna make sure that like the person I'm going against does nothing. Like being confident, I'm gonna beat you. I don't care if you're the Big East offensive player of the year. Like you're not getting past me. That's just the mentality that you gotta have.
Yeah, I'd say these guys were perfect in their advice, but for me, definitely coming in fit is a big tip I'd give to my freshman self. The preseason here is not really like a preseason, it's literally 3 games and then you're into like the conference games, so you need to make sure that you come in a tip-top shape. And then an academic tip I'd give myself is just stay on top of things. Like classes go by so quickly, like it's insane. Like if you miss a few days just because you don't feel like going to class, how much you'll miss. So really stay on top of things is like a big tip I'd give to my freshman self.
My advice that I would have, I was told this by my captain my freshman year, so shout out Reese. He told me everyone's here for a reason, and I couldn't tell you how many times that one day you'll play unbelievable and then a next day you won't play as well. So there's good and bad days on the soccer field as there is off the soccer field. So I know a lot of people can let that get to their head. So one thing is, again, if you have a bad practice or something, once that's over, forget about it. And the next day is a new day to come in confident. So I just say, yeah, every day there's good and bad days, and you just got to keep grinding it. And again, everyone's here for a reason. So showcase what you got.
Cool. Anyone wants to add to any question or anything you think people want to know? Nope.
I'm fresh out of ideas now.
All right,
They asked
sounds
some
good.
good questions.
All right,
Asked some good questions.
like I said, if you have any more questions, feel free to either DM me, leave it in the comments. I'll make sure I read them. But yeah, if you guys like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that now. Share it with your friends. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Yeah.